Hey everybody, I'm Alexander Creek, astrologer and intuitive. Welcome back. We're going to be talking about the astrology of the full moon in Capricorn on July 21st. This is the second full moon in Capricorn this year, so it makes it pretty unique. And there's a lot of really powerful astrology with this too. So we're going to be talking about all of the aspects, what's going on with the full moon, and also maybe a little bit of about what to expect for your sign as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. So even if this wasn't a second full moon in a row, this feels like a very powerful full moon just because of the aspects it's making to the other planets. And I find that the energy with this full moon can be about cord cutting or breaking ties or saying goodbye to something. Like really powerful culminations, endings, releases, completion, or a resolution, maybe that has if something came up for you with the first full moon in Capricorn on June 22nd, like that could have been like the beginning of some kind of story. And this one is like this ending. And it really feels like this powerful energy. And there is this theme, I think, of deep, transformative, and lasting change with this full moon, particularly because I'm actually going to show you. So let's go ahead and pull up the chart for the moment. So this is if you're watching on YouTube. I will still kind of describe what's happening on the audio version of the podcast. So let's go ahead and pull that up. Okay, let's see how this works because I have not done this on YouTube yet. So first of all, so here's the chart of the full moon. We have the sun and moon in an exact opposition, which is what a full moon is. A new moon is when the moon is conjunct the sun. So this would mean that the sun and moon are in opposite signs. I do want to mention, this first full moon that we had in Capricorn in June was at 1 degree of Capricorn. This one's at 29. Um, 0 degrees is the beginning of a sign. 29 degrees is the end. This kind of represents like the full spectrum of Capricorn energy. So I feel like if you have major Cancer or Capricorn placements, chances are this Cancer season maybe is a little bit more transformative than usual, or a little bit more eventful, or there's like this full story kind of playing out for you. Um, so the reason why I was talking about like why this full moon has this sort of deep transformative change energy to it is because it is going to be almost exactly conjunct Pluto. Pluto in astrology tends to be about death, transformation, like that deep transformational process that we go through. And Pluto can also be about intensity and power. So at the very least, if this, not every full and new moon has to really personally affect you. Sometimes it's like you can just kind of feel the energy, and you're like, well, that's that, you know. So at the very least, this does feel like a more emotional full moon. Even though Capricorn, when the moon is in Capricorn, it is in the sign of its detriment, meaning that the moon rules Cancer. So the moon is comfortable in Cancer. It's able to do what it does well in Cancer, which is to nurture others, which is to take care of its body, to take care of family. The moon in Capricorn tends to be a more serious energy. It's sometimes moon in Capricorn can be about like ambition or achievement, and it's not really great at sort of nurturing itself or like being gentle with itself. So a moon in Capricorn may not necessarily be like the most emotional lunation. However, I do feel like there is some powerful emotions with this full moon because of the conjunction to Pluto. It's the ability to access something really deep in us emotionally, able to access something really deep to let go of, and something I think that would maybe help kind of give us some, I don't know, like additional like inner strength or something. Sometimes with the moon and Pluto, it can be about, becoming aware of like certain power dynamics, or becoming aware of certain truths that are just kind of bone deep, like these sort of, the sort of this sort of gut level knowingness, essentially. I also want to say for the United States, we're going through a very kind of tumultuous election. I would think that because the United States is also in its Pluto return. And so this moon is going to be conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. I would maybe suspect that the election is going to continue to just kind of get more strange from here, or maybe that there is some sort of like major event that plays out around this full moon having to do with the election, having to do kind of with like the future of the country in general. So I would be interested to kind of see what that is. I wouldn't freak out too much about it. It's just something to observe. We also have the moon is going to be trine Neptune here as well. And this gives this full moon, we already have this sort of deep, transformative, lasting change, maybe making permanent, like maybe making some permanent endings, or just feeling like this really kind of deep energy. And this trine to Neptune in modern astrology is about like spirituality and higher consciousness and like, connection to like oneness and unconditional love and all of these things. And it is making a harmonious trine, it is making a trine aspect, which is a harmonious aspect to Neptune during this full moon, almost exact. And or almost it is pretty exact, but almost like down to the minute exact. And this really kind of brings out the best in Neptune. Sometimes Neptune can be, if there's a more difficult aspect to Neptune, it can kind of bring out the sort of rose-colored glasses side to Neptune's energy. But I would say with this trine, it's like there is this feeling of maybe surrendering or letting go, or kind of asking like the universe to meet you halfway, or kind of accessing some, almost like accessing some forgiveness. It's like there's that really kind of intensity that we get with Pluto, but there's like this I'm failing to find the words for it, but it's just, when I say spiritual, not spiritual like something on the surface, but spiritual as in like being able to surrender and let go to the universe. Essentially, there's something connected to that with this full moon. And this just keeps going. There's more astrology that I need to talk about with this full moon. It's not like sometimes full moons and new moons are really straightforward. This one, there feels like that there's a lot going on with it. Sorry, I gotta drink my coffee. The next thing would be a trine to Uranus. So this full moon is going to be making another harmonious aspect to Uranus and Mars, actually. So the full moon is technically at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So that would mean that it's going to be making our harmonious aspect to Uranus at 26 degrees of Taurus. We just had a conjunction of Mars and Taurus on July 15th. That was about really impulsive, volatile energy. I put out an episode about that. And sometimes it is associated with like violence and like sudden things and like, fireworks, right? And Donald Trump was literally shot at during his rally. He actually has a midheaven, I think, of 24 degrees of Taurus. So that Mars Uranus conjunction was right there. So this kind of calls back to that energy a little bit, but instead of this really kind of explosive energy, that energy is fading a little bit, but we can kind of, it's like there's something here about being able to still tap into that breakthrough energy to break free from something, or to utilize like something inventive, original, or to seek more of your own freedom. Like that energy is connected to this full moon as well, and we can use that energy more constructively to be able to take some sort of positive action, or to make decisive action with this full moon, because this full moon, while technically like 1 degree off, is making a pretty exact trine to Mars. So Mars is at 0 degrees of Gemini at this point, Mars being that planet of action and energy. So it's like it's an out of sign aspect, but I would still count it because it's pretty mathematically very, very close. So there's a lot of harmonious energy with this full moon. There's not really a tremendous amount of discord, right? It's like being able to see what endings you need to make, or really just being able to integrate this sort of powerful energy into some area of your life. It doesn't have to be an ending. It doesn't have to be a letting go of something, but if you want to use it for that, or if that's what you're feeling, it's going to be wonderful for that. And also just the ability to kind of create lasting change. And again, if this is not really hitting you, like, okay, so I am going to do reading for each of the signs now. So reminder that you can always find your sign in the timestamps and the comments if you're watching on YouTube, or in the show notes if you listen to the audio version, so you can just jump to the right sign. Also, reminder to listen for your rising sign if possible. It's going to be more accurate. You can still listen for your sun or moon if you want, particularly maybe if you're like a Cancer or Capricorn. But I would recommend listening to the rising first. So, I mean, also I'm going to put this up on YouTube, or rather, I will put the chart on YouTube so you can go ahead and look at it. But of course, I'm still going to be describing for everyone listening to the audio version. So let's bring this up. Okay. So let's, so first of all, we have, okay, so Aries rising, you are first, of course, because you're first in the order of the zodiac. So the Capricorn full moon is going to be falling in your 10th house. So this is, there could be events, the focus of the full moon may be more on your career, your achievements, your work, or even authority figures. This could be like an authority figure leaving, or something with an authority figure. You could be, it's probably not this extreme, but you could be like changing jobs, or at least the focus of this full moon and its power and its energy is on your goals, what you are achieving, your public reputation, what you are known for, and anything having to do with work and career. Let's do Taurus now. So Taurus, this full moon is falling in the 9th house for you. So and again, this is something that, there's going to be like an increased focus here since June, because this is our second full moon in a row in Capricorn. So this could be something to do with like a trip or travel, anything where it feels like relatively long distance, or you're spending like a couple days there. That can be like a 9th house sort of journey. Anything to do with like long journeys, anything to do with spirituality. This full moon could really connect you to your own belief system, to spirituality. This is a really good full moon for you to really kind of talk to spirit, to do divination, to do tarot, to do astrology, something connected to that. Or it could be really connecting you to your own belief system. Sometimes the 9th house can also be something like broadcasting or publishing, or getting something sort of out into the world as well. But definitely there is a focus for you with this full moon on higher education, spirituality, travel, anything to do with publishing, and occasionally there's legal stuff as well, and law, because that would be 9th house. For Gemini, we have this full moon would be falling in your 8th house. So Cancer season for you tends to, maybe there can be a lot about your resources, your money, your skills, things that help support you in this life. So this full moon is falling in the opposite house. It'd be the 8th house of other people and their resources. So this could be this full moon could have you more focused on things like credit cards, loans, investments, any sort of money that you're tied up in that's not like an actual paycheck. This could be you like cleaning up something, connected to these things, or anything like related to I cannot talk today. Anything related to like an inheritance, or inheritance, or an estate. The 8th house, has to really do with like, the 8th house can also be themes of, the 8th house can be death. And I'm not saying like, oh, someone's dying, or, but there could be themes around like planning your estate, or, sometimes those heavier themes of mortality can pop up during an 8th house full moon, especially, in the sign of Capricorn, where it's a very serious kind of energy. And I also want to say the 8th house can be sometimes just like unresolved psychological baggage as well. So you could be sort of more tuned into that, on like what you need to be like releasing. The eighth house also can be, I think, sometimes psychic, like exploration. So with this full moon being connected to Neptune, that really kind of flowing energy of that planet of spirituality and like the other realms, it could be an excellent time to kind of delve into that as well. All right, Cancer. So obviously, this full moon's probably a bigger deal to you than most of the signs because this is your opposite sign. So, and we're also in Cancer season. So there's a lot be going on with you internally, externally. Maybe you're processing some things. And, you being a sign that is ruled by the moon, you're always going to be probably paying a little bit more. You're always going to be affected a little bit more by like new moons and full moons because you are inherently more connected to the cycles of the moon. So, this full moon for you is actually occurring in your seventh house of relationships. So, there could be changes in your relationship dynamics. It could be actual endings in relationships, or maybe new chapters in relationships, or just powerful shifts. So, this could be romantic, business, platonic, whatever. It could, and this could also be, even in like sometimes seventh house is like a relationship with like your job, or like a business entity. It doesn't necessarily have to do with it doesn't always have to do with a person. Sometimes it can be like like a contract that we're in, because seventh house is a house of like legal agreements and contractual agreements. So I would say, and this could, and again, also this doesn't necessarily have to be about a relationship. It could be, let's say that you have a partner. It could be something like something significant going on in the life of a partner as well. It doesn't have to be about your relationship specifically, but the focus here is going to be on other people in your life here. Um, Again, it feels like a pretty powerful full moon for you. And again, this is a second full moon in a row. So, and again, I would maybe connect that to themes of like relationships for you. I would also just kind of take note here too, because this full moon, while it is falling in your seventh house of relationships, it's also conjunct Pluto. And I wonder if this may illuminate more like power dynamics in relationships for you, or like just because sometimes Pluto can do that, especially if it's connected to like especially if it is sort of like connected to relationships. So yeah, I just interesting stuff going on for you, and it does feel like a more powerful time for you specifically, just because this is your season and this is in your opposite sign. So Leo, what's going on for you, Leo? Let's see. So full moon is going to be in full moon. It's actually, my screen isn't quite showing it correctly, but the full moon is going to be in your sixth house of work and health. So this could, I'm going to say Cancer, or I'm going to say this Cancer season, it's brought up these two full moons in a row. Maybe it's bringing a lot more attention and awareness and focus to daily health things, exercise routines, things that you put in your body. Is your body feeling good? Is it not feeling good? And anything connected to your work. So this would be your to-do list, your work routines, the people that you work with, your boss at work, like the nature of your work. It could be that there's like a lot of changes going on within the workplace for you right now, or it could be that there's simply just more attention and awareness on like work and your productivity and this kind of thing. Cancer season for you specifically, this is your 12th house season. Like this is the season, before it's all about you. So there is like a lot of internal like psychological subconscious kind of processing, maybe like letting stuff go, but there's always this interesting dynamic of the internal versus the external for you during Cancer season. But again, work and health stuff coming in for you with this full moon. So we have Virgo. Let me actually look and do a different. So we're not looking at the wrong one. Okay, so Virgo, for you, this full moon is going to be in your fifth house. So, okay, Virgo, what's going on for you? So this would be this like a culminating event, a completion. This heightened awareness or focus. any house that rules your children, or like the children in your life, anything to do with romance, anything to do with fun, pleasure, and creativity. So it could be that you are giving that there's something maybe that you've sort of given birth to kind of creatively during Cancer season, because we've had two of these full moons coming up in the fifth house. It could be that there's just a lot going on with your children, or with anything sort of connected to children. Or it could be like, if you're single, if you're dating, if you're with someone right now, um like if you're in some kind of like newer like romantic relationship, there could simply just be more attention and focus and kind of sparks kind of in this area. This full moon for you, there's this kind of letting go, spirituality, forgiveness, compassion thing connected to other people, or connected to your partner with this full moon, because it's going to be trining Neptune in that seventh house of relationships. So yeah, interesting full moon for you as well. And consider this is the second full moon in a row in the sign of Capricorn going on in that fifth house. So you might want to notice what's going on for me over, the past month since June 22nd. So, okay, Libra. So this full moon is happening in the fourth house for you. So that's anything connected to your physical residence, your home, and family. So there, this could be anything from like thinking about, or maybe making some kind of major move. This could be essentially the focus and awareness is going to be on your home life and on your family. So this could be anything as dramatic as we're moving, or we're looking for a new house, or we're expanding, um, or even just a lot of nesting, or there could be just changes connected to family, or just sensing, that you're kind of headed into a new era with your family. I mean, it could also just be more focus and awareness connected to like where you come from, your roots, your parents, because fourth house can often just be, our parents, and also family members as well. Keep in mind, you still have the north and south node moving through your first and seventh houses. So you've been maybe going through a lot of personal growth since last year, maybe a lot of letting go of things, or shedding what is no longer you, maybe releasing people pleasing tendencies. And there's also probably been shifts within your partnerships, new partnerships, new romantic things, new platonic relationships, or just shifting that dynamic within your relationship space. So we have another eclipse in Libra coming this fall. So more of this kind of growth energy for you, but we're kind of in the final period of that north and south node in Libra. Bringing like bringing a lot of changes to the kind of these like main kind of pillars of life. So we're getting close to wrapping up that for you. So yay. Anyway, okay, so Scorpio rising, this full moon for you is going to be in your third house. Your words are going to be very powerful. Capricorn is this powerhouse of a sign. It's like this ambitious, serious kind of leadership energy, right? Um and Capricorn energy is also connected to like tradition and like the past, and this sense of kind of carrying like tradition. So I'm not sure why I said all that. It doesn't really have anything to do with what I'm going to talk about, but this full moon is falling in your third house of communication. So I'm going to say that your words have power right now. This you could be really working on any kind of communication project, getting ready to sort of launch any kind of communication project. It could be that there's simply more focus on your daily rituals, on your commute. There could just be more focus on that. But I'm going to say again, words have power here for you. People are listening to you. You're speaking with authority during this full moon. Also, what else about what else I'm completely blanking right now. It's a little early in the morning when I'm doing this. But I'm going to say anything connected to education, the mind, learning, teaching, just because Cancer season is your ninth house of teaching and in education. So it could be that you're wanting to sort of that you're wanting to like take in more spirituality, take a course on something, learning something new. And again, anything connected to mind and communication is really kind of what is going on for you during this full moon. I did want to point out that Mars Uranus conjunction that just happened over here in your seventh house late this weekend and early on Monday. Maybe you're breaking away from some sort of toxic relationship. Maybe you're saying enough is enough. No, I'm done. Or simply just maybe having less patience for other people's bullshit. That's also quite possible for you as well. So I did just want to point that out. So for Sagittarius rising. This is happening within your second house of money. So there could be, you could just have more focus and awareness of what you are spending, your budget, your stuff, your talents and skills that make you money. Perhaps you are ending some source of income and beginning another, or perhaps there's just really feels like a focus on your resources during these last two full moons in Capricorn. So definitely feels like, what am I worth? How much do I want to make? Am I Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces now. We'll start with Capricorn. I'm wearing a different shirt. So this is the next day after I tried to record this all yesterday. For some reason, my computer or the software I record on wasn't picking up my voice. The green screen wasn't working. So we're just going to do it without the little chart in the background. So for Capricorn, this full moon for you is falling in your first house. So obviously this has a lot to do with you're the star of this full moon. I feel like you've been going through this really intense growth process, at least for the past month, while we've had these two full moons in your sign. I feel like this could either be something like internal, like you're clearing something away, you're ready to move on to the next stage of your life, you're owning your power, you're owning your authority. This could also result in some changes to your outer appearance. Maybe you're dressing a little differently. Maybe you want to show the world just because first house, a full moon in your first house. First house has to do with appearance and body. Maybe there's just been more focus on your physical body or maybe on your physical appearance at this time as a result of this energy. I also want to say, because, the opposite house is the seventh, there might be some shifts in your relationship dynamics as well, because we did just have a new moon in Cancer that fell in your seventh house of partnership. I also want to point out as well that, again, this full moon is conjunct Pluto. Pluto is about to retrograde back into your sign in a few, probably, I think in about 2 months, and it's going to be there really through the fall, and then it'll be done in Capricorn forever. So just know that you've been really on a very kind of intense journey with Pluto going through your sign since 2008. It's mostly done in Aquarius, but it's going to come back for one more little round. Also, this full moon being ruled by Saturn in Pisces. Saturn is your ruling planet. You answer to Saturn a lot. Saturn is a planet of mastery, of lessons, of things that take a long time, but are worth it in the end. And Saturn is in Pisces right now. And Saturn in Pisces, I've noticed, has a lot to do with people getting sober or, using drugs and alcohol as like an escape. I've noticed with Saturn in Pisces, there's like a lot of people exploring sobriety or just kind of coming to the terms with the fact how we're all addicted to something. So there are these themes with Saturn in Pisces, but for you, Saturn in Pisces is moving through your third house. So the third house has to do with your immediate environment, as well as it also rules like relatives and commuting and transportation. But I want to say, with Saturn in your third house, part of this full moon's energy for you is maybe looking at your environment. Is it cluttered or is it streamlined? Because when your environment is cluttered, your mind is cluttered. Because the third house also has to do with the mind and communication. So a lot of this may have to. So during this full moon, this very complex, transformative full moon, you may want to be looking at your environment and thinking like, does this serve me anymore, or should I get rid of stuff, or do I need to be streamlining things? The third house also rules kind of like your daily rituals. So your daily card pulls, your daily journaling, like that kind of thing. Like and really kind of just like the mundane that we do sort of every day. And so you may want to be taking a look at that, or you may be called to give it some structure or just like clean it up a little bit with this full moon in Capricorn. But otherwise, I would say enjoy this full moon. There's a really nice release for you at the end of this full moon. For Aquarius, we have this full moon falling in your 12th house. This full moon is more of about like hidden things. Like this is a full moon that I kind of want to go in my bedroom and like light a candle and like light some incense and shut the door. It's kind of how it feels. This is because the 12th house is like a private retreat. It's like your private sanctum. And I think that there is a lot of healing with this full moon. There's a lot of intensity with this full moon because Pluto and Aquarius, this full moon is Pluto and Aquarius and it's in your sign. So you may feel like some of that sort of extra intensity from Pluto simply being in your sign, or thinking, or there just may be a little bit more gravity to this full moon. Often when Pluto, when we think about Pluto, we think about depth, like emotional depth, getting to the truth of something, getting to the bottom of something. So I really would take time to meditate, to get some alone time, and or you may sort of, or you may also, because the full moon illuminates, you may be sort of realizing something, like, because the 12th house also has to do with your subconscious mind, like what is sort of hidden in the depths of your subconscious mind. So I think that you will maybe have some sort of realization, illuminations that have to do with maybe how you might undermine yourself, or maybe even how you sabotage yourself, or maybe even understanding how maybe certain people in your life are actually not serving you, essentially. So, or certain relationships that don't serve you. So it does feel like a very private full moon. So yeah, okay. That is the full moon reading for Aquarius. Let's talk about Pisces. So the full moon does happen in your 11th house for Pisces rising. So this puts the focus on your allies and on your friends. So casual social groups, people who support you, professional colleagues, people that are kind of in your corner. It could be something like comes up in your relationship with these, something like there might be more attention and awareness and focus on these kinds of relationships, or perhaps a friend or someone that kind of falls in this sphere. Is like there's a lot of, maybe they're having some kind of like event, I'm not like social event, but I mean like having some kind of personal, like, I for some reason my words today are just really not amazing. I'm going to say focus and awareness, attention, illumination on. It could be that your one of your relationships changes, or it goes through some kind of evolution, or perhaps that you have an opportunity coming from a friend or a colleague or an ally, or perhaps like there's just really like a lot of networking for you going on, or a lot of social interaction with let's say with like people in a professional organization or in like a social media online space, where you're sort of all connected with some sort of singular purpose. Like for me, I'm in a Facebook astrology group. That would be my 11th house thing when I'm connecting with people in that group. So there might be some more attention on that. And I would think I would also think, I would also wonder if there's been more going on with that since June 22nd, just because we've had two full moons in the same sign in the same part of your chart. Now, I did want to mention, because Saturn, the ruler of this full moon, is in your sign. So I'm going to say Pisces, boundaries, Pisces, right? Because Saturn is all about boundaries, Saturn says no, where it's like, that actually is not a priority for me right now. I don't have time for this right now. I have to focus on this other thing. You may be having some sort of, there may be some energy around that of like, because since Saturn has went into Pisces in March 2023, you maybe have had to, you may have had to say no to things, or to really weigh like, is this a priority for me? And really, because Pisces is this very porous sign, it is a water sign that is sort of represented by that is a water sign that is represented by the ocean. And Pisces is a sign that really often can struggle with boundaries and saying no and being like, that's actually too much for me. I'm not going to do that right now, or that's too much for me to take on, right? So Saturn in Pisces, I think, may be helping you with boundaries. It's also possibly likely that you've been having to take on more responsibility, more burdens. Let's say that you get a promotion, but it's to like a management position that can be very demanding, right? That's very that's very Saturnian, especially because Saturn can often have to do with vocation, and kind of what we do for a living. So maybe since March 2023, there's been more responsibility on your shoulders. It's also possible that that there's been more attention being paid to your physical vessel, your physical body. So maybe your vitality's felt a little bit lower, or you've had to work a little bit harder on your health, because Saturn can sometimes Saturn can signify like some kind of struggle, or working towards something that is hard but worth it. So these themes may echo throughout this full moon because it is ruled by Saturn in your sign. And again, it may be about the transformative power around saying, I actually don't have time for this in my life. I actually can't do this for you right now. I'm so sorry, but I cannot be the shoulder that to cry, and I have my own problems. So anyway, so thanks for watching this video. We finally got through it. It took me like 3 days to record this. It's so annoying. So thanks for watching this video. Happy full moon. Make sure to like or leave a comment if it resonates with you. And if you do need a reading, you can book on my website, darkstaroracle.com, or just click on the link in the show notes or the comments. I will be having some announcements coming soon of some membership and subscription services that I'm really excited to launch. So keep an eye out for that. I'll definitely be promoting on my YouTube channel and my podcast. So I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.